Hello, everybody. It's me, Perry Paris, with more on my mind. Yes, indeed. Right here, I'm going to get to use my constitutional right and express some of my views and my opinions on the thoughts that I have. Actually, I don't make all this stuff up. There's plenty of content out there to deal with, right, on a daily basis. I don't know, today's more interesting one to me than maybe not it's just as interesting as anything I've ever talked about, if not more, because of the subject matter, and that is love. What is love? Who is love? Where did love come from? And the beginning, right, to an end, I guess. I don't know. So how about that? Wherever we came from, that's where love came from, because it would take love to create someone to love. I'm probably not saying it exactly the way I would too. I haven't really thought about how to put it into words. Now that I've pondered this idea a few times last couple of days, and I went on ahead and decided to put a little bit of work in on this and give myself a general field study during the day to day. And what that means is paying attention and looking at myself and my own ways that I feel like I maybe was loved or wasn't, and then the way I've loved somebody, and how different people seem to have different sets of love for them. Like there's probably, I've had a child, and there's parental love, Matter of fact, I've heard my mom talk about that, and, that's dynamic. There's the love from a grandparent or for a grandparent, too. I love my granny different than I love my mom, but it was pretty much the same, you know what I mean? But it wasn't. Mom doesn't let you get away with nothing. Granny lets you get away with everything. But, oh my goodness, miss her a lot. So the whole love thing, and I thought I had done quite a bit in my life, and, I'm an expert in love, or obviously I may know about it or whatever, but I haven't been real successful at it. I've never been married, I guess. Haven't had no longevity in the world of love as far as a mate, okay? We all have love for our families. That seems to be more of a natural thing. And then like Christmas coming up and stuff, you see people and you're like, wow, that's old Uncle so-and-so, or whatever, whatever it is. My cousin what? And I guess I love them because I'm supposed to, but I don't know them. I don't really have no feelings for them. So there's a general idea, that I think that you love somebody or for a certain reason, whether you know them, love them, or not. Is right or wrong? Well, it doesn't sound real wrong, that's for sure. Like I'm starting to really just, have putting it together. And that's funny because, it's like been at it for a while, but there's different levels of love too, You may love one of your boyfriends more than you love the other one, but you did love both of them. It just didn't work out or whatever. Probably with neither one of them. But this whole love thing has got me twisted up again because, I feel like it would take a tremendous amount of love to make any relationship work these days between a man and a woman. This is some of my thoughts on this because I've done this, where I'm at right now at this space and time in my life, and being the expert that I am, I'm single. So, and that was by choice, been under the guidelines of, doing the right thing and, blah, 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 blah. And there's still, I feel like I needed to love myself first before I really was going to be maybe more successful in the relationship category. I've seen this happen. Not that I've never not loved myself or cared about myself, but I've seen it, with people and firsthand and so forth. And I mention anybody's names. It's not like that. But what it is about getting in and trying to maintain and do the right thing. It takes work. We all know it takes work, not just from one person, but I've seen that too in my lifetime. I've seen, the girl be all in and the guy's not, and she holds it together somehow, and vice versa. Usually when it's the other way around, it doesn't seem to work out as long, but I've seen a little bit of that also. So what does it take to be successful in relationship type love? believe that it takes an act of God these days with all the distractions, all the sin, everything that's going on. I mean, what else? I'm not going to sell it short. It is what it is, right? Don't give it too much credit, but I'm going to give it the amount of credit that it needs to be attended to. What's happening, everybody? Hey, man, Perry Parrish down here at Jeep Master Austin, Texas. Getting a little refill on the old transmission fluid. I might have messed up one or two times, maybe, half a dozen times. It's a great shop down here, very friendly, a lot of whatever that number is. A lot of smart people. But the Jeep Masters, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. I'm not involved with, right over here on Congress in Ben White area levels that I used to be on, because I'm not really in that same person anymore. Jeep Masters. All right, people call it, I don't know if it's growing up. No, I just wasn't happy with the way things go, so I change it. And now just the whole God connection is what's the most fulfilling type of love I think that I can experience, because I've had many types, and I'm just going to want to keep that up on the high pedestal, because that's really all that matters here, and if anybody thinks that we just showed up here and we have all this neuroscience to us and it just happened out of a bang, well, congratulations. Maybe you figured it out, but you listened to somebody else's theory rather than finding out on your own. And I would suggest, hey man, if you can go find something out, please let me know, because I'm all about trying to do that thing. Eternity's forever, and I want to be involved with that if at all possible. Because that's where the love is, and that's another part of this conversation. Somebody could actually love you that much is just insane, And I guess our grandparents, I don't know how old everybody is here, but if you're really young, but below the age of 30 right now, I think you'll, with the grandparents you have, I'm going to tell you right now that kind of love has been dying off and ending. Our parents and grandparents stayed married for a long time, and then before them, that generation back then really stayed married for a long time. If you got married, that was it. You may not sleep together anymore. Most people end up in different bedrooms and different beds, but oh man, that's like been people I've seen personally, my families, the aunts and uncles, whatever and thank God for them guys. I was able to watch all that craziness, try to learn a little something. And it is what that is too, It's a very, very focal it was, being able to see that, to be able to watch something and learn how things were going down between, good people just didn't get along and maybe jumped the gun a little bit, or found out that their differences were going to be too great, at a time when they should have, instead of jumping in right away, maybe taking their time at it. And because if you're going to be with somebody, I guess, I've never seen it really. I've heard people putting limitations on, well, if you don't marry me now, I'm out of here, or blah, blah, blah. I've never been that and seen that from anybody, but I've read about it and heard that it happens quite a bit. So I don't know, man. What's love in that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't even, I'm no expert as far as, like a library book to tell you the definition. I'm not sure. I think if you asked a bunch of different people, you get quite a few different answers on this. Well, what is love, or how do you love somebody? If you don't know how, you don't know how. How do you love yourself? That's the big one right there, because I'm a firm believer that's what's going on there. It's a mental thing too. And then people I meet all the time, just even recently, this girl's telling me how important it is for everyone to love themselves, and told me some fantastic reasons why. I was just impressed that she even thought like that, to be honest with you. It's been a minute for that. So those are some of my views on love and being loved, and different types of love, I guess. How you love, I don't know what to tell you on that one. You love with all your heart and just everything you got, but you can't be freaked out and paranoid if somebody else has something to do, man. You can't be hitting that J zone. That ain't no good, man. Thank God I've never been a really jealous person, just never had to be. And the fascination of the whole relationship thing has been taken out of context and been reshaped. And I think that happened through social media, and we'll talk about that next right here on, the blasted, baby. It's the blasted. That's where we're at. It's the blasted. So, yeah, man, the whole love thing, I've got a part 2 to this, and I'll be more than happy to share it with you. Coming up soon. All right, everybody, I'm Perry Paris. Rocking the block, baby. Why? Because we love that rock and we love that metal. This has been Blasted, a Perry Paris production. Thank you for listening. Blasted.